Hello students, today we are going to see the evaluation of T-cell erythrocytes. In this first one we will see the drug content determination. So as you all know how you will perform the drug content determination, we are going to assay by using your UV visible spectrophotometer you are going to find out the drug content determination. But in this case of free sealed erythrocyte, first we will take the packed cells, that is nothing but your RBC which is loaded with your drug. Then we are going to deproteinize because we don't want any other hemoglobin or any other constituents of the cell. So we are going to deproteinize with acetonitrile. Then we are going to perform the centrifugation at 3000 rpm. Then you will get a supernatant liquid which is assayed for your drug content. So whatever the supernatant clear liquid is there, we are going to take that and we are going to estimate the drug content by using the UV visible spectrophotometer. Next one is in vitro drug release and hemoglobin content. So it is monitored periodically from drug loaded cells, and this cell suspension is taken and stored at amber colored glass container at 4 degrees centigrade. Then afterwards when you store that, you will get a clear supernatant liquid. So when you withdraw this supernatant liquid by using a hypodermic needle with 0.45 micron millimeter syringe, then whatever the solution you are taking, then you are going to again deproteinize it by using the methanol. Then you are going to estimate it for drug content. Then the supernatant of each sample after centrifugation is collected and assayed. So in this process we are going to do the drug release in vitro. So for this purpose you are doing all these steps. Then afterwards, how do you find out the percentage hemoglobin release is given by the formula A540 of sample minus A540 of background by A540 of 100% hemoglobin. Here A540 is nothing but your absorbance is 540 nanometer. So at which wavelength you are checking means at 540 nanometer you are going to check the percentage release of hemoglobin, that is how much amount of hemoglobin is present in your sample. Okay, so A of sample is nothing but absorbance at 540 nanometer, and A540 of background means nothing but the clear liquid which you are taking. Next here PG, that is nothing but the mean corpuscular hemoglobin, MCH/PG, that is a unit of that. So that is nothing but picogram, that is given by hemoglobin, that is in gram per 100 ml into 10 by erythrocyte count. Next, hemoglobin concentration is measured spectrophotometrically after lysis of whole blood and conversion of. So what happens in this meantime, the hemoglobin and oxyhemoglobin present in the blood is converted to hematine. So we want to find out the hemoglobin concentration. So when you want to find out the hemoglobin concentration, first we have to convert the hemoglobin and oxyhemoglobin into hematine. So how you will convert means you have to place these solutions in the strong base, that is NaOH at pH 10. Automatically it gets converted into hematine. So this hematine is estimated photometrically, and what are the results that are obtained? So that is given by gram hemoglobin per 100 ml of blood. So that is nothing but this much amount of hemoglobin is present in 100 ml of blood. So for this purpose you have to do one thing, that is nothing but you have to convert into hematine, and from that hematine you are going to get the results which gives the ultimate result, that is how much grams of hemoglobin will be present in your 100 ml of the blood. So in addition to that, hematocrit value is also important in the determination of the erythrocyte portion of your blood, that is how much amount of RBC are present in your cells, that gives the hematocrit value. Okay, this is your in vitro drug release and hemoglobin content. Next, percent cell recovery. So this is determined by counting the number of intact cells per cubic millimeter of packed erythrocyte before and after the drug loading. So it is nothing but before we are going to pack the cells with your with the drug content, we are going to find out how much amount of cells are getting packed. Okay, that means how they are interlinked to each other per cubic millimeter we are going to check before and after. So that gives the percent cell recovery. The counting is performed in an instrument called as the hemocytometer. So hemocytometer will help in counting the number of cells without packing with the drug and with packing with the drug. So that gives the percent cell recovery. Next, morphology. As you know that morphology is nothing but the structure and shape. So that will be studied by using the phase constant microscope or electron microscope and scanning electron microscope. These three will determine the evaluation of erythrocyte morphology. Next, osmotic fragility. So osmotic fragility is nothing but the cells which you are taking will be kept in an osmotic solution. So how they are disturbing, that is any cell structure is modifying or not, or any chemical reactions are taking place with that osmotic fluid. So we are going to see that. So this is the parameter used for in vitro evaluation carrier erythrocyte with respect to the shelf life. So how much time it is going to survive when you keep in an isotonic solution, we are going to study that. So for this purpose, you are going to take a normal erythrocyte as well as you are going to take a loaded erythrocyte. Loaded erythrocyte is nothing but the erythrocyte which is loaded with your drug. Okay, so normal erythrocyte we are going to incubate in stepwise percentage of NaCl solution, that is from 0.9, 0.8, 0.7 to up to 0.1 we are going to take at 37 degrees centigrade for 10 minutes. So same as like that, loaded erythrocyte is also taken like that, and both they are centrifuged at 2000 rpm for 10 minutes. Then you will get a supernatant liquid. So the supernatant liquid is taken for your drug content determination and also for your hemoglobin content determination. So among this, when you take a normal erythrocyte to loaded erythrocyte will not show any difference in the structure or morphology or any variation in the erythrocyte, that is it is sustainable to all conditions of temperature and pressure and also to osmotic solutions. So but normal erythrocyte, it gets ruptured when you kept in a osmotic solution and it will be affected with time to time. Okay, next one is osmotic shock. Osmotic shock is nothing but we are going to take a erythrocyte suspension with a hematocrit value of 10% and we are going to dilute with 5 ml of water and centrifuged at 3000 rpm for 15 minutes. Then your supernatant is examined for your percentage hemoglobin release spectrophotometer, that is by using UV also you can determine that. Next, turbulence shock. So turbulence shock is nothing but it is a measure of destruction of loaded cells during injection. So whenever after loading of your drug, we are going to inject that into your blood. So during that process, we are going to turbulence shock. So what happens here, normal cells and drug loaded cells will be taken and they are passed through 23 gauge hypodermic needle at a flow rate of 10 ml per minute. So after this process, followed by collection of sample, so we have given a this normal cells and drug loaded cells into the blood, and also after that we are collecting the sample of the blood and that sample of blood should be centrifuged at 2000 rpm for 10 minutes. Then afterwards hemoglobin is withdrawn from the sample and it is estimated. The drug loaded erythrocytes appears to be less resistant. Okay, so whenever in whichever the evaluation you take, drug loaded cells will be stable when compared to the normal cells. Next, determination of entrapped magnetite. So here entrapped magnetite is nothing but in the RBC we are going to load the drug along with the magnetite, that is a small iron piece will be kept in that. Okay, so the magnetically responsive drug loaded erythrocytes are developed by loading iron compound, that is magnetite will be kept in the erythrocytes. So here what happens means magnetite bearing erythrocyte, that is along with the drug in the erythrocyte we are keeping a small magnet. Okay, that is nothing but the iron piece we are keeping. So in that we are going to add some HCl and the contents are heated at 60 degrees centigrade for 2 hours and add 20% of trichloroacetic acid and centrifuge. The supernatant obtained is used to determine magnetite concentration using atomic adsorption spectroscopy. So in this we are going to find the how much amount of magnetite concentration is there, how much amount of drug is there, so how the action is going to be. So by giving this, what happens means these magnetically responsive drug loaded erythrocytes can be guided to particular sites in the body where the drug is released. So what is mean by this means, suppose this is an RBC. So we are loading this with the drug along with a iron piece, that is nothing but a magnetite. So suppose these are the lungs. Okay, so this is the target action. So we are going to guide this by using an iron magnetite. So we are performing the magnetite action. So directly this will go to particular area. So it will go and show the action at the target site only. Okay, for that purpose magnet will be arranged in the RBCs. Next, erythrocyte sedimentation rate. So here erythrocyte sedimentation rate is nothing but the ESR. So ESR is nothing but the settlement of corpuscles with an anticoagulant is added to any blood. Suppose this is in a test tube. So you are taking the blood into this. So along with this you have to add some anticoagulants to this. So what happens means after some time, whatever the cells that are there, heavyweight cells, so plasma will have certain density and your cells will have certain density. Okay, if the density of the cells is greater than your plasma, all the cells will get settled at the bottom of your test tube. Okay, this sedimentation, that is settlement of all the RBC and all the cells at your lowermost region of your test tube when you add in the anticoagulant containing blood. So that is called as the erythrocyte sedimentation rate. That is nothing but RBC completely gets settled at the bottom of your test tube, okay, and the plasma will be remaining at the top layer, okay. So this is called as the erythrocyte sedimentation rate. So erythrocyte sedimentation rate will give the indication of the progress of your disease. So progress of the disease is nothing but if ESR rate is higher, that means the disease is going to be increased, okay. If ESR is lower, the disease is going to be decreased, okay. So here the red cells will have the negative charge if any condition which increases positive charge accelerates ESR. So in negative charge it will not give any disease condition. If the red cells charge is positive, then you will have the chance to get a disease, okay. So it may be increased by rise in oxygen levels, rise in cholesterols, and rise in fibrinogen levels, and ESR rate will be decreased by rise in nucleoprotein, rise in lecithin, and rise in nucleoprotein, okay. So as I said that it determines the progress of a disease. It is determined by placing blood in a vertical tube and the height of the plasma supernatant and column of cells settled at the bottom after 1 hour is noted. Next one, zeta sedimentation ratio. So here erythrocytes are subjected to dispersion and compaction. The measure at which RBCs approach each other after dispersion and compaction is noted. So we are subjecting the erythrocyte to dispersion. Firstly we are going to disperse that, then afterwards we are going to compact. Compact is nothing but we are getting together that. We are dispersing and we are getting compacted together. So the velocity at which the erythrocytes aggregates takes place is measured in a rheoscope. By using rheoscope we are going to find out at how much velocity they are dispersing and at how much velocity they are compacting, okay. That is called as the zeta sedimentation ratio. Next, hematological parameters. The hematological parameters are nothing but these are used to predict the possible effect of administered drug on integrity of erythrocytes. So that means we are going to find out the protein content, we are going to find out the mean corpuscular value, hemoglobin content, mean corpuscular hemoglobin content, mean corpuscular hemoglobin concentration, and red cell distribution width. So these are all evaluated in the hematological parameters. Next one is the biochemical parameters. So these are used to detect the one of the presence of the disease. That is, if the disease is present, so then what is the fate of your cell debris and thiol content, creatinine content, and adenosine triphosphate. So if these alterations are there, there is a chance of getting the disease. So we have to check particularly for biological parameters that cell debris should not be there and thiol content should be minimum and creatinine content should be in the range and adenosine triphosphate is also will be in the range. So you have to go for checking all these biochemical parameters. Next, the lipid content. Lipid content and spatial arrangement of the lipids prevents the carrier cells from being removed from circulation by immunological devices. Immunological devices are nothing but you are taking if any antibiotics are there. So some lipids will be there which are not useful to your body. So what happens? It will distract that lipids in your body. So for preventing that, the arrangement of the lipids should be such that it should not be removed from your blood circulation from your immunological devices. Next, your membrane fluidity. Membrane fluidity, as you all know, fluidity is mentioned, so that is fluid nature should be present to the blood. It can be measured by using hydrophobic fluorescent probe. Probe is nothing but an instrument and the values can be related to lipid composition. So the always whatever the blood you are taking, that should be always in the fluid nature only, okay. If you have an suppose if you are going to add any anticoagulants, so it will prevent the formation of coagulation, okay. So fluidity is the major factor for checking. So when the blood is in the fluid state only, we can go for the resealing of your erythrocyte. If it is a coagulant, we cannot load the drug into that, okay. That is membrane fluidity. Next, the last one is the rheological parameters, that is the viscosity. So the viscosity of your blood and your related density of the blood will be checked. So this will be determined in Brookfield viscometer and also a relative density bottle. So these are all the evaluation tests of your resealed erythrocytes. With this, your evaluation part is completed. Thank you.